mindset, yeah, do you mind, yeah, why you tripping like that? You should get your eyes checked.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Deli, so go ahead and ring that bell, subscribe to me so you can react to what I see. So today, we finally got making the case for Larry Bird. A lot of y'all been down in the comments letting me know on that Larry Bird Ultimate mixtape video, was letting me know about checking out Making the Case. Some of y'all was saying just watch the one for Larry Bird. Some of y'all was saying watch the whole series. Personally, I'm gonna watch the whole series because I think all of it is quite interesting. I think all of it is quite interesting, even to hear what exactly, especially if he makes good points for everybody else, then I also just want to hear, without all of the emotional delusion, what his argument might possibly be for LeBron James. I don't think it's going to change my opinion, just like I don't think that this will change my opinion that Larry will be the GOAT. But just because I don't think it's going to change my opinion doesn't mean I'm not open to hearing what's being said. So I am going into this with an open mind. I don't have Larry as the GOAT. I have Jordan as the GOAT. But maybe this will change it afterwards. Probably not, but possibly it may make me change where I have Larry ranked. I don't even want to talk about where I have Larry ranked because half of y'all are gonna, because I see how much y'all love Larry and y'all are just gonna be triggered and not listen to shit else in the video but what that is. So I'm not even gonna go. Matter of fact, let's just not. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Deli, so go ahead and ring that bell, subscribe to me so you can react to what I see. So today we finally got Making the Case for Larry Bird. A lot of y'all was down in the comments recommending this video, man. Letting me know I actually was recommending the series. And I see now he has so he does takes 8 players and he makes the case for why one could argue that each player is the GOAT. I think it's Larry, it's Magic, it's Kareem, it's Larry, Magic, Kareem, Jordan, LeBron, Tim Duncan, and there was 2 others that I'm just not thinking of at the very moment. But I'm gonna watch every one of these videos, so it's fine. But I'm definitely, since this was the one requested for you guys, this was the one requested from you guys, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and check out Making the Case for Larry Bird first. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the video.
Basketball is special. The size of the court and the lack of pads or helmets give fans the most intimate experience of a team sport that exists. And because of the different styles that basketball allows for, players develop their own distinct identities and signature styles through their creativity, flair, and athleticism. And although no player succeeds alone, the scoring volume and two-way nature of the sport give individual stars a nearly unprecedented amount of control over the flow and outcome of a game. For this reason, players are constantly compared to their peers and to the legends of the past in order to answer the most hotly contested question in the sport: who's the greatest to ever do it? For many, the question is redundant. They believe in only one right answer: their answer. Others might have their own personal stance, but acknowledge 1 or 2 alternatives. But I believe that there's much more nuance to the question of greatness and more answers to it than you might think. By my count, there are 8 players in NBA history that have a substantial claim as the GOAT. It's a subjective thing though. I can't give you a definitive answer. All I can do is make the argument. So today, I'll be making the case for Larry Bird as...
I want to say, regardless of how I feel at the end of the video or at the end of the series, I respect the premise. I absolutely respect the premise, which is why I'm open to going into this with an open mind and seeing exactly what he's got to say. Does it make sense? Whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant, but let's go ahead and see.
The greatest basketball player of all time. When it comes to basketball, Larry Bird is the smartest, clutchest player to ever play the game. Now, if you don't think that Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player of all time, you probably hate that I just said that. Those are the kind of talking head sport cliches that surely impact the game but are impossible to empirically measure. Normally, I'd agree with you, but I think that when you talk about Larry Bird, you see those intangibles become real, palpable results. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't believe it.
Okay.
When Larry Bird was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1978, the NBA needed saving. Attendance was in the toilet, the league had few marketable stars, cocaine addiction had several players in its grasp, and most damning of all, playoff games were being tape delayed. Playoff games at the highest level of basketball were being put in the back seat for black and white movies and network reruns. But rather than join the Celtics after being taken third overall, Larry Bird decided to return for his final year at Indiana State, a decision that would prove to be one of the most important in the history of the sport. Bird's final year saw the Sycamores tear through college basketball, going 33-0 before the national championship game. Bird, already claimed by the NBA's most historic and prestigious franchise, had established himself as the generational talent who would inherit the mantle of pro basketball. Indiana State's opponent in the national championship was Michigan State, captained by the immortal Earvin Magic Johnson. The Sycamores lost the championship to the more talented Spartans in the highest rated game in the history of basketball at any level still to this day. The stage had been set. The next decade of basketball would be defined by the rivalry between the white hick from French Lick and his Boston Celtics and the black Magic and his Showtime Lakers. The rivalry between Bird and Johnson is entwined into the fabric of the NBA and is worthy of 100 documentaries. In this video though, we're going to be looking at Bird's claim of supremacy. Here's Bird's basketball resume. His 3 championships come with perhaps the highest collective degree of difficulty of any player's championships. His 3 MVPs came consecutively, making him only the 3rd player to accomplish the feat, along with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. His 2 finals MVPs are misleading. He was absolutely the best player on the '81 Celtics.
Time out.
Bird's claim of supremacy. Here's Bird's basketball resume. His 3 championships come with perhaps the highest collective degree of difficulty of any player's championships. His 3 MVPs came consecutively, making him only the 3rd player to accomplish the feat, along with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay, so there was absolutely then cat in my comment section. But all right, we'll move forward. Because definitely a few people said he was the only one to ever do that. So it's cat, but it's cool. We'll move on.
His 2 finals MVPs are misleading. He was absolutely the best player on the '81 Celtics, but he was only a sophomore, and his 15 points per game in the finals gave the media an excuse to exact a little vengeance on a legendarily difficult interview. His All-Star and first-team selections also come with the caveat that Bird only played for 13 seasons and missed all but 6 games of the '89 season following surgeries on both feet.
Right.
I can hear you already. A 13-year career, and this guy is supposed to be the GOAT? What color of paint are you huffing, Clayton? Green, obviously. But hear me out. Yeah, Bird's career lasted about 2/3 as long as it should have. But what he did in that time was so impressive and so substantial that every basketball fan acknowledges that he's in the conversation as the greatest ever. Doesn't it matter that those 13 years saved professional basketball, delivered a disproportionate amount of memorable moments, defined the golden age of the league, and produced a career by which all other forwards, before or since, are measured? Bird squeezed every drop of talent out in those 13 years and made it seem more like 30.
Well, and to be clear, when I say no, not everybody, I just take the 2 statements. He's in the conversation to be the GOAT, and he's one of the greatest players of all time. I take those to be 2 completely separate statements and ideas. Essentially, one of the greatest of all time, like when I hear that, I basically hear, okay, that he's basically top 10, top 15. One of the greatest. When I hear in the GOAT conversation, when that means when we argue about who is the definitive one person that he should be in that conversation. So a few seconds ago when he said every basketball fan agrees or agrees that Larry Bird is at least in the conversation, that's not true. That's not true. He's every basketball fan knows that Larry Bird is absolutely one of the greatest of all time. But not every basketball fan believes that Larry Bird belongs in the GOAT conversation. That definitely not. Definitely not. And if you just want to call the people who don't stupid, that's cool. That's cool. It's your opinion. But no, everybody does not feel that way.
30. He didn't just leave his fingerprints on the game. He left so much of his DNA in the sport that it needed a cigarette afterwards. There's something to be said.
All right, I'll give you an A for the cleverness there.
Said about the candle that lasts half as long but burns twice as bright. Those 3 MVP years stack up with any other run by any other player. I will put an A.
Okay, still 10. From the floor. Okay.
A+ Larry Bird season up against anyone's. What does an A+ Larry Bird season look like? A full box score, a blowout win, a nearly undefeated record at home, and a play style that could only be described one way: white. Larry Bird isn't just a white basketball player, he's the white basketball player. To describe Larry Bird's game is to thumb through the Hoops dictionary and pick out every cliche about white players. Unathletic, great shooter, good fundamentals, the whole thing. The archetype of a white basketball player is Larry Bird, with one exception. He had an unparalleled understanding of the game of basketball, both as a physical contest and as a mental competition. His basketball IQ infected everything he did and catapulted his career into legend. Bird was a complete player. Jerry West called him nearly as perfect as you can get. He was the league's first great marksman. He could contort his body to shoot from anywhere on the court, regardless of the level of defense. He pioneered the art of the dagger 3 and was the founding member of the 50-40-90 club. At 6'9", Bird's understanding of angles and coordination led to a higher rebounding average than Patrick Ewing, and it made him an impressively adept finisher in his younger years. 86, Bird dropped 47 points on the Blazers, playing the majority of the game left-handed. His lack of quick lateral movement meant that Bird didn't do much when it came to slapping the floor and picking up the opposing point guard, but his size and omniscience gave him the ability to body similarly sized players, read defenses like a free safety, and pick off passing lanes with ease. His passing was transcendent, and I'll highlight it later. And of course you need to know that Larry Bird was a tough MFer. He had a superhuman motor and dove for loose balls like a beagle at the park. He was a willing participant in his share of fights, often precipitated by his league-renowned trash talk.
Oh, yeah.
He should have stayed in preaching. That was funny. He had 50 points. I was guarding him my rookie year. He looked at me and he goes, "You can't stop me." And I looked at him and I said, "Gosh, boy, you're so confident." He proceeded to score like 10 straight points on me. The coach took me out the game. He walks by and he's laughing at me.
He was a basketball genius. He'd be a step ahead.
Larry talked that shit now. I know that. I know that. I know he talked that shit. I am not surprised. Don't nobody need to teach me shit about that, okay?
A thought ahead. Play the game like a chess game.
Dot!
I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you have to play the game as a thinker when you're playing him. You have to get inside his mind.
If you put all of us in a room, Magic, Jordan, myself, and Bird probably be the guy who walks out of the room at the end of the day.
Did you notice something during those testimonies? Those are some of the best basketball players of all time, and they all sing Bird's praises like they were former assassins who had to go toe-to-toe with John Wick, and they're just happy to be.
I just want to say, yes, I noticed that. I do also notice that these are people that got beat by Jordan, especially Isaiah Thomas. We know we can't take anything Isaiah Thomas says about Jordan as unbiased. We know that. We should all know that. James Worthy might be a little different on that one. on that one. He only got beat by Jordan once, but we know we can't exactly take Isaiah Thomas's opinions as unbiased. Just saying.
Alive. Bird excelled during one of the most talent-rich periods in league history. The abridged list of his basketball rivals goes like this: Dr. J and Moses Malone on the Philadelphia 76ers, Sidney Moncrief on the Milwaukee Bucks, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer and the Bad Boy Pistons, Dominique Wilkins on the Atlanta Hawks, Bernard King on the New York Knicks, Michael Jordan on the Chicago Bulls, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson on the Houston Rockets, and of course, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the Los Angeles Lakers. Alright, there's no point avoiding it any longer. We have to look at Magic versus Larry. If you have Magic over Larry, it's because he has 5 rings to Larry's 3, had a peak that lasted about 2 or 3 years longer than Larry's, and had a 2-1 record against Bird's Celtics in the finals. Perfectly legitimate, completely...
I was just about to say, like, so does that mean I'm fucking stupid for thinking that way? Like, what? All right, but I'm sure he's about to address that, but all right.
Respectable arguments. But in the interest of making Bird's case, allow me to retort. For nearly the entire decade of the 1980s, the Eastern Conference was irrefutably the more competitive conference between the two.
In the 80s, hell yeah, absolutely.
For Bird to have made 5 finals appearances is just as impressive as Magic's 9.
Okay, all right.
For the head-to-head record responsible for Magic's 2 extra titles, he had more help. Seriously, the Celtics' Big 3 and the Lakers' Big 3 get compared all the time historically as if they were of equal caliber, but weren't Magic's accomplices just a step above Bird's? No disrespect at all to Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, but Kareem was the alpha dog on the 71 Bucks.
I'll give you that point for sure. But Magic definitely had the better teammates. Yeah.
And was the best player for at least 2 of the Lakers' 5 titles. James Worthy was the #1 pick out of UNC after winning a championship as the best player on a team that had Michael Jordan on it. Throw in the fact that Magic got to be coached by Pat Riley, one of the most brilliant minds in basketball history, and you could say that the Magic-Bird argument comes down to one thing: luck. So if their careers come down to luck, the question just becomes who you would rather take. Now, I'm not making this video to tell you why you shouldn't take Magic. I'm making this video to tell you why you should take Bird. Not just over Magic, but over everybody. One thing that helps him is the fact that his play would translate perfectly into the league today. A 6'9" sharpshooting forward with eyes in the back of his head who averaged double-digit rebounds in an era against Moses and Laimbeer. He'd gobble up boards as a power forward. He'd be an offensive mismatch against everybody as a small ball center, and his off-ball skills and passing would pair perfectly with the flow.
True, but I feel like everybody that he's making the GOAT case for their game would translate to this league, except for maybe Wilt. Probably not Wilt, but the rest of those 8 players, well, LeBron is playing in this era, so, but the rest of them players, like what? Timmy would have found a way to adjust. You know what I mean? You saying Jordan wouldn't have looked even fucking crazier in today's league? You know, so yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very defensive with this because I just don't agree with it. But I'm still, if I hear something I agree with, all right, cool, yeah, that makes sense. If I hear something I'm like, then I'm gonna say, even if I'm fucking wrong. I don't know.
Flow of today's game. Add in his competitive mania and 3 generations worth of medical advancements, and we're talking about a player who could have stuck around so long they would have had to rename the league. As you've been watching these clips of Bird, I would hope that you would notice something. He always knows where everybody is. Watching Bird play basketball is like watching those monsters from A Quiet Place that know where you are if you make any noise at all. Bird had a level of clairvoyance that bordered on the unnatural. In '85, he ended up 1 steal away from a quadruple-double after playing just the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, his awareness was
famously infectious
top
and
notch.
helped transform the Celtics of the '80s into an ideal that basketball teams at all levels are still shown tape of. They moved the ball with precision and intent, always looking for better shots and determined to get the entire team involved in the effort. That fact is almost entirely attributable to Bird and his wizardry with the ball. This acumen also helped Bird become the only player with a GOAT claim to transition successfully into other basketball roles after his playing career. In his 3 years as the head coach of the Pacers,
successfully,
Bird won a Coach of the Year
keyword.
award,
Yeah,
coached
okay.
the Pacers to their first and only finals appearance, and gave Michael Jordan as much trouble as he'd ever gotten in his career in the '98 Eastern Conference Finals. After moving into a front office role for Indiana, he won Executive of the Year in 2012, becoming the only person to have an MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year award. On the court or off of it, inside and out, Larry Bird sees basketball as only he can. That intelligence also lent itself to Bird's defining skill, making the big plays. Remember, NBA players get paid to win games. James Harden is getting paid nearly $40 million this year because he's supposed to help the Rockets win games. Victory can be achieved in a lot of ways, and the win column doesn't care how it happens. As Mark Sinclair once said,
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But when your team is down 1 in a crucial playoff game with 8 seconds left, and you need to hit a shot to stay in the series and keep your season alive, that's where players really separate themselves and earn their money. Love it or hate it, it's the players that come through in the big moments that live forever in our memories. Some players, for whatever reason, were never able to do it consistently. Some players were truly outstanding at it. Larry Bird was the best at it. I'm not going to give you the stats about his field goal shooting under 2 minutes with a score that's this close, or tell you who has the most buzzer beaters or any of that.
There's all that mental gymnastics.
I'm just going to show you clutch moments in clutch situations. 1985 against the Blazers. Bird drops 48 points, including this. Down 1 with 2 seconds left.
Okay.
Double teaming Bird. Larry, fake, follow
That was nice. That was nice. That was a tough shot.
1985 against the Hawks. Bird sets the Celtics scoring record with 60 points with shots like these.
They open the right side. Bird the follow away. He drills it again. That's the best shooting I've ever seen.
1986 against the Rockets. Not all of Bird's clutch moments were singular. The bigger the moment, the bigger his performance. In Game 6 of the 1986 NBA Finals, Bird clinches the championship with a triple-double in what he calls the best game he ever played.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Bird wants a 3 out of it.
1987 against the Washington Bullets. Bird hits one shot to tie it before it's waved off because of a timeout.
Oh, and he went right back to the exact same spot.
For real.
Yeah.
Crowd is standing up. It goes now to Bird.
Or close. Oh, okay. Well, no. All right.
And then in double overtime, down 1, he does this.
It's going to go to Bird. He's got a shot.
Off one foot.
For 3 years, from 1986 to 1988, the three-point contest knew no other champion but Larry Bird.
He's still going to drop one here quickly. 14. This is a tie for the money.
Okay. I didn't know he did it like that, back to back. I know about this one.
1987 Eastern Conference Finals, Game 5. Tied at 2 games apiece against the Bad Boy Pistons, this enormous game would put the winner 1 game away from the NBA Finals. The Pistons are up 1 with seconds remaining. The ball goes out of bounds off the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas just needs to inbound the ball to win the game.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ.
Oh, that has to hurt. Oh, that has to hurt.
There are truly too many big games and big moments for me to go through without this ending up as a documentary. But that all leads me to this, what I really want to talk about. 1987, NBA Finals, Game 4 against the Lakers. LA is up 2-1, and the Celtics need to win to tie the series and stay alive. Bird hits a 3 with 12 seconds left to go up by 2.
Bird goes for 3.
Kareem comes down and gets fouled with 8 seconds left. He makes the first, but misses the second. LA ends up with the ball with 7 seconds left, down 1 point.
Kareem wasn't known for his free throw shooting.
Magic hits this, the baby skyhook.
Magic with a
Oh, right. I've
2
seen that
seconds left.
tiny little clip
Down
before.
1.
Just of Magic hitting that.
Bird fires it.
What do you think happens?
Listen,
I bet it wasn't that. When I paused the tape and the ball was hanging,
I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah, he got me on that. He faked me out on that one. I was just about to say, well, it's a video about how Larry's a GOAT, so I'm assuming it went in. All right. Let's hear out what he's got to say.
in the air, you thought it was going in. Bird thought it was going in. Magic thought it was going
Oh, God, it's in. He's going to do it to us again.
in. I've seen this game before, and I still think it's going to go in. But it didn't. Pat Riley said it himself. We got lucky. And that, a missed shot in the NBA Finals is why he's the clutchest. Because after he makes the big plays, has the big games, hits the big shots, time and time again, you expect him to hit every shot, to win every game. And in those fleeting moments when he doesn't, when he looks like a mere human, when he looks like everyone else who tries to do what he does, you just can't believe it. When he looks, and in those fleeting moments when he doesn't, when he looks like a mere human, when he
Ooh, oh, okay. That's the play everybody was talking about from that first video. Okay. Got it. Yeah, I do know how I missed that, but like I get why some of y'all, why vast majority of y'all were very frustrated at me for missing that one in the Ultimate Mixtape video. Yeah, yikes. Oh man, I definitely understand how I missed it. Because I comprehend how my brain fucking works. I would have had to probably have watched that video 2 or 3 times to probably catch that. Most likely. But yeah, that one's rough.
looks like everyone else who tries to do what he does, you just can't believe it. That's what Larry Bird did. He made the big plays so often you thought he was going to make them every time. He helped turn basketball into a global phenomenon, paving the way for every Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or LeBron James who comes through our lives. He played basketball in its purest form and captained a team that is consistently ranked among the greatest of all time. He has the second highest win percentage in the history of the NBA, behind Magic by less than 1/2%, about 10 games. He was the complete package, a player with no holes in his game whatsoever. They called him Basketball Jesus, a player with second highest win percentage team who comes through our lives, paving the way for every Michael. He helped turn basketball into a global phenomenon, paving the way for every Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or LeBron James who comes through our lives. He played basketball in its purest form and captained a team that is consistently ranked among the greatest of all time. He has the second highest win percentage in the history of the NBA, behind Magic by less than 1/2%, about 10 games. He was the complete package.
The second highest win percentage in the history of the NBA behind Magic. Oh, okay. By 1%. About 10 games. Oh, okay. Look, sorry. I'm sure a bunch of y'all are getting frustrated that it took me a little minute to. Some of y'all are frustrated that I didn't hear that the first time and just comprehend it. This is not gonna be the channel for you. The channel for you to watch. I'm just gonna be honest. I got ADHD. I'm not making any excuses. I'll fucking. Huh? What? Huh? My brain was trying to process this. Meanwhile, some new information is in front of my face, and I'm still thinking about this shit. Wait, hold on, huh? I missed that. Hold on. All right, let me rewind. Hold on, huh? Oh, okay. It'll be like that sometimes. All right, but it'll be like that sometimes, and if you feel like that that angers you and it just makes me fucking stupid, you probably shouldn't watch my videos, because that's how my brain works. It is what it is. And yeah, no, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I get what they're saying. The highest, he singularly has the highest winning percentage out of anybody in NBA history, and the second highest to Magic. But that's a lot more impressive because Magic had just an absolute GOAT level teammates. Meanwhile, Magic had teammates that were going to be Hall of Famers regardless. Larry had teammates that were Hall of Famers because they were Larry's teammates. And there's a difference there for sure. James Worthy was going to be a dog regardless. Kareem and I believe Byron Scott would have been a dog regardless. You know what I mean? But you know, would Kevin McHale have really been the Kevin McHale we know if he played for the Knicks? Like, he played for the Sixers? I don't know. Let me not stop saying teams because I'm not sure of some of the players that were on there. But none of them had a Larry Bird. So, you know, I get that. Some of y'all are going to take me refusing to say that Larry is the GOAT as hate on Larry. And it's just not. Like, it's just not. It hasn't convinced me completely. But of being the GOAT. I've already had him top 5. You know, let me stop. This rant should go more so at the end. Oh, okay. Now I get it. All right. So it's basically saying that because Larry was number 2 in the highest in the winning percentage. Well, not because he was number 2. It's basically saying that he was number 2, but he was super close to Magic. And considering the context of what Larry had and what Magic had, he's not one, right? But you could still give him the same respect, right? Like, I don't like to play the hypothetical game. I don't like to go, yeah, considering how close it was, even without Larry having that same help, if Larry had the help, then Larry would be 1. I would agree with that statement. I'm not going to argue that means he has the highest winning percentage. No, he's got the second one. But I get the concept, and I get why he should essentially get the same respect as having the highest one. Right? So I get that. That makes sense. Or at least that's how I just comprehended that in my brain. And I don't change shit for hypotheticals, but with the reality of what those numbers are, that is definitely impactful in my opinion. Yeah. So, okay.
By less than 0.5%, about 10 games. He was the complete package, a player with no holes in his game.
Less than 0.5%.
They called him Basketball Jesus. He didn't get that name without doing something extraordinary. He saved basketball.
Why have I never heard this? Never what? I've never heard of this. Basketball Jesus? That's news to me. I'm sorry. Okay. Just because it's news to me don't mean it's wrong. I'm just saying that's news to me.
Basketball. And he did it by playing it better than anyone else. Here's Magic at Bird's retirement in 1993.
Larry Bird said that there would be another Larry Bird one day. And Larry, there will never, ever, ever be another Larry Bird. To the greatest basketball player ever, but more important, a friend forever.
Like, okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, first thing. So that last little part about about Larry's retirement and Magic being there, when they showed a different part of that conversation in the other video, it was a part where Magic had said, you know, Larry was the greatest player ever, and I was immediately like, Michael Jordan was in the league when you said this, Magic. whatever. None of my business. And a lot of y'all were rightfully so, were like, hey, but Jordan didn't. It was early in it was the early stages of Jordan's career. He hadn't made that claim. He was only in between. He had won his first ring, but he hadn't won his second ring yet. So like that's early in the legend of Jordan. Like, yeah, no, you have not made this GOAT claim yet, bro. Like, you got one title. Let's sit down. So for those of y'all that was like, nah, you tripping from that last video, y'all are right. Nothing in this video told me that, but nothing in this video specifically convinced me of that. But I looked that up after I saw some of y'all comments. Well, not looked it up. I thought about it after I saw some of y'all comments, and that little clip just triggered me to remember this. So just want to let y'all know, for those of y'all that were correcting me on that comment about Michael Jordan being in the league in '93, you are correct. Now, to address the purpose of this video. So this didn't make me put Larry as the GOAT, but as I said before on that, so when I did the first Ultimate Highlights mixtape reaction, I let y'all know that that didn't really move the needle for me because I already knew Larry was great. This one moved the needle a bit. I typically, I'm not going to go through my top 10 right now. I'm just not going to do it because I know that I'm going to watch the Making the GOAT case videos and more, and it's going to change every fucking time. Like, every fucking time. As I'm somebody that understands where my basketball knowledge is, and I'm comfortable letting you know, hey, I don't know, so this is going to change, right? And I'm pretty confident that like 90% of people are going to completely ignore that part and just attack what I said. So we're not even going to go there. But I typically, when I thought about rankings, I pretty much had Larry like 7 or 8. I'd say at this point, this has moved the needle to kind of get him the top 5, or at worst, just outside of 5 at number 6. At worst, at 6. Which means I've got to slide some other people around him, and I don't want to put that out yet because I've got to really think about that, about who. But he definitely just jumped a few people for sure. I know that. Okay, I know. Yeah, I think I took this video and just put him over Kobe. Yeah, I take this video. I think I got to go ahead and put him over Kobe. Yeah, man, but like I know there's gonna be people who feel like I was biased, and like sure, there's a certain level. I'm a human being. There's gonna be a certain level of bias, right? Like there's a certain level of I think this, and you're presenting a piece of information against me that is not against me, to me, that is oppositional to my belief, right? So there's gonna be a part of that as soon as I hear it, that's gonna go, huh? What? How? Right? But I feel like a super biased person just hears something and goes, no, that's not true. A more open-minded person hears something and goes, how is that true? Now, if they go, how is that true, and then disagree with the explanation that they get, that doesn't mean they were just closed off and too biased to listen. It just means that they disagreed with what they heard. The first one that just went, no, that's not true. That's being too closed off and too biased, right? So some people are going to feel like I just am too biased because I didn't walk away from this video going, Larry Bird is the GOAT. And that's fine. I'm not going to be arguing with people. I can't change the opinion. But I do realize, yeah, no, it moved it. Larry was about, let me stop bullshitting. I had Larry number 8 I would have to put him like number 5. I'm just not sure if I want to put him over who I got at 5, and I don't want to dive into that right now. But worst case 6. Worst case 6. But at least 5. I'm sorry, worst case 6. Best case 5. So yeah, that is what has happened. And years ago, I would have been like, no, this is my top. This is my top 10. This is my top 5. And fuck y'all if you disagree, whatever, right? And now I'm like, no. If I didn't know this, and then now I know this, now I need to go back and look. I need to think about it. But I can't think about it as quick as the basketball savants. I need some time to run it through my brain. But what I will say is this. I had Larry ranked about 7 or 8. I mean, I shouldn't say always. I've at least for the last 10 years, I've always had Larry in my top 10. And I had him mostly ranked between like 7 and 9. I'd say at this point, the lowest after watching this and comprehending, and I'm gonna rewatch this too, but after watching this, I would have to say that like the worst I could rank Larry at this point, the worst would be just outside of top 5 at number 6. Just outside, which even potentially, possibly number 5. Now, the reason that I don't want to go through and actually rank them yet is because, first off, those 4 or 5 people before him also have making the GOAT case videos. I'll just put it that way. All right. So let me get through it all. You know what I'm saying? And then settle it. I don't want to go, oh, okay, all right, and then catch something else in some other video. Actually, guys, I'm gonna have to move Larry right back. You know, nah, I don't want to do all that. So, but I'd say at this moment he's moved up to 5 at best, 6 at worst. And that's not going to be good enough for some of y'all, and that's okay. But for the people who are just objective and who can at least appreciate some, learning new information and then changing your opinion, yeah, this did move the needle for me. It didn't make him the GOAT for me, but it moved the needle for me. It did. Who knows? I might have to go back and actually sit there and watch full games of Larry in order to move it further. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna sit there and watch 12 seasons worth of some career. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not going to. I'm just being completely honest. But I'm just trying to show how I can appreciate something outside of my favorite player. That's the whole point. But let me know what y'all thought about this video, man. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see me react to next. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure you go ahead and go check out one of my other Larry Bird reactions that we got right here on the channel. But aside from that, just remember, it's your boy Deli Dell. So ring that bell. Subscribe to me so you can react to what I see. Peace, y'all.